Hello, Bill Steffen here. Thanks so much for coming on board. What a great weekend we had. Weather-wise, hardly a cloud to be found. I bet there's a couple people that picked up a little sunburn over the weekend. You got to keep that sunblock handy. But boy, I tell you, sunshine, pleasant temperatures for the most part. Look at the difference Lake Michigan made. This is really spectacular. 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Temperature in Grand Rapids was 68. Kalamazoo was 71. Now, the wind at Holland was out of the east. And if you look at the picture there, the flag on top of the lighthouse shows a wind coming from the land to the water. So they were in the warmer air. That temperature there was 69 degrees. But over at Muskegon, it was just the opposite. There, the lake breeze kicked in, and the temperature was only 53 degrees at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So big difference. And Milwaukee, on the other side of the lake, with the prevailing east wind coming all the way across the lake, was only in the upper 40s during the afternoon. So boy, that made a difference. Some other temperatures to share with you that are pretty spectacular. At the town of Houghton, which is up in the Keweenaw Peninsula, they had a high temperature of 89 degrees. Now, normally the wind's coming off the lake from the east or from the west or from the north, but this day the wind was coming out of the south-southwest, and look at what their temperature did. Now, the warmest it got in Houghton all last summer was 90. And in fact, last year, the warmest they had in the month of May was 79. So this is pretty spectacular to be up there at 89 degrees. And contrast that to Mackinac Island at the other end of upper Michigan there. 48 degrees was the afternoon high temperature there. And that's a 41-degree difference between Houghton and Mackinac Island. I bet in the next 10, I was going to say 10, maybe in the next 2 years, you won't see that big a difference in high temperatures between Houghton and Mackinac Island like that. At the Holland Airport, 75, but at the Holland Beach, same thing, 74, 75 degrees. East winds. Downtown Chicago had a northeast wind coming off the water, and their temperature at Navy Pier was just 54 degrees. And down on the bottom, another incredible temperature, 95 in International Falls, Minnesota. They didn't get that warm all last summer. And in fact, the humidity fell as low as 14% in northern Minnesota. So that's really unusual weather that we're getting. A lot of fun stuff here to talk about. That's the Muskegon Channel. And I wrote down the name of that ship, Maritime. I can't read it from here. It's too small, but Maritime something or other coming into the Muskegon Channel there. So interesting day if you were over by the lakeshore. All right, let's move on and take a look at headlines. More sunshine for today. There'll still be some scattered clouds around, but pretty nice day. And there'll be a chance of a shower here Tuesday and Wednesday. Not an all-day rain. A good portion of Tuesday and Wednesday will actually turn out to be dry, especially during the morning. So you may be able to get things in. Warmer weather expected here for today with temperatures up around 80 degrees this afternoon. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to take a look at our sponsors in a second. But first, let's take a look at Tulip Time. I want to give a little bit of a shout out here first to some of the people that organize these events, because they do a great job. Tulip Time this year. Look at all the people that were there. The great weather, and it will be great weather here today. So if you got the day off, there won't be the crowds. You'll be able to get into the shops, Windmill Island, and up and down the tulip lanes. The tulips are beautiful. So if you got some time off today, I may do that myself. If I can squeeze a few hours off, we can go get over to Holland and take a look at one of the prettiest places on earth here during the second week of Holland. Mostly sunny. I think temperature at the regional airport there should be up around 80 during the afternoon. The lake breeze may kick in, but it may not. And I would suspect it should be a beautiful day anywhere along the lakeshore today. So let's move on. Take a look at our sponsors here. Listen to these messages, starting with Complete Care Concierge.
Need a fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service? Complete Care Concierge has you covered. Serving all of West Michigan, we offer one-time, daily, weekly, and bi-weekly cleans, plus move in, move out. We also service apartment hallways and laundry rooms. Our work is guaranteed, gift cards are available, and we even clean on weekends. There's no better way to say I love you than giving a tired mom a break from dishes and laundry. Are you a busy professional? Pamper yourself. by taking vacuuming and dusting off your plate. Office manager, keep your business looking and feeling its very best. Call 616-264-1397 today for a spotless space and total peace of mind.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
And we thank our sponsors. CompleteCareConcierge.com is the place to go, and Ace Hardware Handyman. Severe weather during the day on Sunday. Look at the peak wind gusts around the Salt Lake area. That's really unusual to see that much severe weather in the west, but not in the east. There were only 2 severe weather reports, one in Mississippi and one in Georgia, that were east of the Rockies. But look at that cluster of strong winds that occurred out there by the Great Salt Lake and Salt Lake City. We had 4 places that had bona fide hurricane force winds of 75 miles an hour or more. Here's what the severe weather is going to be today. We're going to start you out in the southeast. There'll be a marginal risk or just a level 1 risk from Florida on up to around eastern Tennessee. Covers much of Florida and most of Georgia. Anything that should be very isolated here, not a widespread event. It's been pretty quiet here, severe weather-wise, throughout much of the country here over the past week or so. And that light green is a risk of a non-severe thunder shower, and that comes up to the Indiana border. So anybody that might be traveling down toward Indiana, Ohio, not impossible there could be a flash of lightning or a rumble of thunder down there, but we're not anticipating anything major. Now, the day we got to watch out for is Thursday. Thursday is the day we're in a slight risk. That's in a level 2 risk in the yellow color there. And the Storm Prediction Center says initial convection may include supercells, posing a risk for large hail and a couple of tornadoes before damaging wind gusts become the predominant severe weather hazard. And the storms that were expected to form out toward the Mississippi River here on Thursday. And timing on this again is such that the storms may be weakening a little bit as they cross Lake Michigan and head into West Michigan, but I can't rule out a little bit of wind damage. And I want to point out also that we're heading into a period here where there will be at least several chances for severe weather across the southern Great Lakes area. Starting Thursday, we'll have to keep an eye on things here. Next weekend, it'll probably be a little bit on the cooler side. And as that cooler air kind of impinges on the warmer air that's over us here, there'll be a couple of days with some pretty good thunderstorm activity scattered about. Okay, well, let's move on from there. Again, keep in mind Thursday is your day to watch, and it would probably be more toward late Thursday evening. Where's it going to rain? Look at that huge area of yellow and red, which is on the East Coast. Starts up in Pennsylvania, goes all the way down to Miami. Those areas are going to see, look at the yellow color is 1.5 inches of rain. That's over a 3-day period. So that's a big glob of rain down there, and that area has seen a good amount of rain. You can see the rain in the western United States as well. The Sierras and Cascades, top of those areas getting snow, and around Yellowstone, there's places there that could see 1.5 inches of precipitation. All right, let's take a look, zoomed in just a little bit here into the Grand Rapids area. That color green that's over us, the darkest green is 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain, and that's, again, this would be coming Monday night, and more Monday night, I think, than anything else, but Monday night, Tuesday night, and into Wednesday. That lightest green color, which is north of Muskegon there, represents less than 1/10 of an inch. So we're not anticipating any heavy rains. The ground is pretty dry around here, so not anticipating any flooding or anything like that. In terms of snowfall, more snowfall out, and look at the Yellowstone National Park. Yogi Bear, get your snow shovel. Boo-boo. Help Yogi. It looks pretty snowy out there. A lot of the tourist season doesn't really open up until around Memorial Day out in the Rockies like that, because they still are susceptible to getting snow. And you can see the snow, highest elevations of the Sierra all the way down into south central Wisconsin. So certainly a cooler pattern developing out there in the western United States. Okay, we'll move on, and we'll talk about the deep snowpack in Crater Lake, Oregon. You'll have to look closely. I should have brightened this slide up just a little bit here. This is at the visitor center, which is pretty high up, 6,450 feet. And look, there's a car in the middle, and look at the snow next to the car. They do plow this out, and usually the snow stops around the 1st of May. But this place gets about 550 inches of snow in an average winter, and it often piles up to be 2 to 3 stories high. Isn't that incredible? But that's another story, 2 or 3 stories high. Let's move on then and show you what's the forecast here for today. This could be the day when we see the greatest temperature difference between the low temperature and the high temperature. I've got a 35-degree difference warming from an early morning low of around 47 at sunrise, which is around 6:30 now, up to 82 in the afternoon. So this is going to be a really big jump for us here. Should be a mostly sunny day. It won't be totally sunny like it was yesterday. And we have a full moon out there again overnight tonight. The full moon of May is called the flower moon. And I don't have a full moon icon. I don't know how that would look. Everyone's familiar with looking at the crescent moon. So I got the crescent moon up there for an icon at nighttime. Humidity levels drop to 35 to 40%. Fire danger is relatively high across the state of Michigan. So beware of that this afternoon. Wind won't be terribly strong, southeast at 5 to 15, probably closer to about 8 to 10 miles an hour this afternoon. But be careful with any outdoor burning or disposing of cigarette butts, that kind of thing. High temperatures for the next several days. We start out today, 83 for Grand Rapids. It may be ever so slightly cooler toward the Indiana border where there will be more cloud cover. So it may very well be 79 in Hillsdale and Angola, Indiana, and Sturgis, 83 for Grand Rapids. And then the lake breeze may kick in. It's got the lake breeze kicking in South Haven, where the temperature stops at 68 degrees. So if you're right along the lakeshore, keep that in mind. It may be a bit cooler there. On the Tuesday, we're a little bit cooler. All of us are still well up into the 70s, but we will be seeing a little bit more in the way of cloud cover and even the possibility for an isolated shower. It will be a little bit more humid here as we get into Tuesday and on Wednesday. But really a couple of okay days here coming up for Monday and Tuesday. Okay, long range outlook in as we go Monday out to Friday, 82 degrees today, 70s, upper 70s here Tuesday and Wednesday. Chance of rain on Tuesday is 50-50, so there's a 50% chance you won't see any rain during the day, and the odds of getting it right during your golf league or softball league, 20-25% or so. It's there, but don't look for a whole lot of activity here. Best bet for a heavier thunderstorm would come Thursday evening. I think Friday we're probably dry, but don't hold me to that right now. And we're looking for cooler temperatures to follow a little bit here for Saturday and on Sunday. Now, the long range outlook here is interesting. This is the 8 to 14 day outlook. And look at all the blue that's developed. We have a pattern change to cooler than average temperatures here for the period May 19th through the 25th. And that pattern may continue all the way from about the 18th or 19th through the end of the month. It's not totally impossible that tomorrow and Thursday could be the 2 warmest days of the month. And again, when you have above average temperatures to the south and below average temperatures to the north, that makes a greater contrast. And a great contrast is usually a trigger for severe thunderstorms. So we're certainly going to have to keep an eye on things as this pattern develops here. I think we're going to see a stormier pattern develop. By the way, it's been really cold in Alaska. You can see the blue up there as well. The thriving metropolis of Deadhorse in northern Alaska had a high temperature of just 16 here on Sunday. The Barrow Airport reached 19, and that was all. So they're not melting any snow or ice up there yet, up in northern Alaska. In terms of rainfall, the 8 to 14 day outlook looks like this, and you can see that large glob of above average rainfall over the central U.S. In that area, we're going to be looking for heavier thunderstorms to develop for that period, the 19th through the 25th. Below average precipitation out in the west and also down in Florida, if anybody's heading in that direction here for the latter part of the month of May. So that's a little bit about weather here. I have a couple other things to talk about. First of all, I want to share a little bit about this date in history. 1781, the British purchased Mackinac Island from the Chippewa tribe. And of course, you can, you know what Mackinac Island has become, and it's kind of interesting because you've got Mackinac Island, which has become a tourist mecca. A million people go there every year. And then Bois Blanc Island off to the side is extremely rural. There's a ferry that goes back and forth once a day during the summertime, but it's really a contrast how one island built up and the second one there did not. All right, what else happened on this date? This is kind of interesting. Powers Opera House and Theater opened in Grand Rapids. On this date in 1874, it was the Pearl and Canal, which is now Monroe Street. Houdini performed there. Not amazing. He was that famous magician, as you know. There was a big fire there in 1901 that gutted the theater and killed the caretaker. Boy, that was too bad. It later operated as Photo News, showing wartime reels, and then again as the Midtown Theater. Ran The Sound of Music for over a year. Isn't that amazing? That is such a popular movie. I believe NBC has the rights to that. Robert Wise, originally from Indiana, was the director of that movie, and they had no idea it was going to turn out to be one of the top grossing movies of all time. The theater closed in 1972, just before I got here, and it was demolished in 1978. So it's an interesting historical item from this date in 1874. Okay, on this date, May 12th, some birthdays out there. Katharine Hepburn, born on this date in 1907, famous actress. Yogi Berra, 1925, 100th anniversary of his birth. He was from, I believe, the St. Louis area. And there were a number of great baseball players that came out of that group in St. Louis. Yogi Berra, famous for all of his yogi-isms, some of what he said, like it's not over until it's over. Just kind of like my podcast here. George Carlin, 1937, he has also passed away. If you don't mind a little profanity, there's one routine he does called Saving the Planet, which I chuckled at when I first heard that for the first time. And Rishi Sunak was the conservative leader in Britain. He has now turned the gavel over to the Labour Party, but he was in office there for a while. So those are some of the people celebrating birthdays on May the 12th. And thanks to Alex for that. All right, let's take a look at some other interesting things. We got this really interested me. It really did. There are educational walks that are going on May 12th to the 17th. Start at the Fish Ladder and at City Built Brewing Company, plus other events including boat cruises and a paddling event. Water's a little chilly out there, but you can certainly manage your way. Lower Grand River Organization of Watersheds. And if you want to check that out more, it's lgrow.org for more details. And I may do that myself. That sounds kind of interesting. Educational walks. They have them in Grand Rapids, and I've always been interested in taking one of those. All right, some interesting news to pass along to everyone here. Daughter number 3, i.e. Michelle, is in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. They just decided, because she works for American Airlines, and when there are empty seats on planes, she can hop aboard. Hubby can go along really, really, really cheap. And they've gone to, 32 countries or something like that, and all 50 states. But they've decided they haven't been down there. Costa Rica is the country that is to the west, the next one up from Panama. And they went to Panama last year and really liked that. Costa Rica has been a very stable place. Costa Rica, by the way, in Spanish means rich coast. And they were expecting oil to be discovered there and some gems and whatnot. Nicaragua tried to claim it, I think, about 10, 15 years ago, if I remember right. And Michelle added that she's interested in weather. The high temperature there was 93. Dad, we need to really do a trip where we fly over the Gulf. And notice she didn't call it either Mexico or America. You would love it. I've flown over the Gulf a couple of times. Michelle and I went to the Bahamas, to Nassau, and that was a fantastic trip. I really enjoyed that trip. So we flew over a little bit of ocean there. And back in the mid-90s, I was on a client trip for WZZM, and we went to Margarita Island in Venezuela, which was a very interesting trip. I did a whole 45-minute show once on my trip to Venezuela. We flew down on Viasa Airlines, and while we're down there, the airline went bankrupt. It closed. So we're sitting in Venezuela, and we have no way to get home. It's the craziest thing. So they hustled everybody on a plane at 4 a.m. from Margarita Island, and we flew to Caracas. From Caracas, with the help of Dale Sprick, the lawyer, we got a plane to take us to Aruba. And then we went from Aruba to back to Detroit, and then from Detroit to Grand Rapids. But we did look over the ocean on that trip. This is a scene from Costa Rica from Michelle. And this is interesting. You don't see much going on here. This area is just starting to blossom as a tourist area. But it's the least settled province in Costa Rica. I think the whole province has about 350,000 people, which would put it less than 2 times the population of the city of Grand Rapids in the entire province. So it's interesting there. It's a hilly area. Costa Rica has 14 active volcanoes, though only 6 of them have been active in the last 75 years or so. And you can see they're apt during this time of year from May through about September, October is the rainy season. They get a lot of clouds and an occasional passing shower, occasionally a little bit of lightning, but very often they get showers there without lightning. So it's interesting. And we'll hear more from Michelle when she gets back here later on this week. There's another picture looking down from the air. That beautiful turquoise color that you sometimes get around some of the land areas there. And of course, I have always got to look out the window. Sometimes I look out the window for the entire flight, telling anybody who will listen what type of clouds we have in the sky. And geographically speaking, where we are, I have really enjoyed flying with Michelle and all the other times I've been flying as well. Okay, we have your photos to pass along. We have 2 photos from people named John. Of course, John Scully sends us many pictures from Grand Haven up to around Muskegon. That is a beautiful picture taken, I believe, after sunset. And as you can see, the varying colors there, the clouds coming in from the west, no threat of any rain from those clouds that you see right there. But thanks to John for that. And a picture from John Doherty. And this is not over the weekend, I can guarantee you that. This is from Beulah, Michigan, up in Benzie County, beautiful Benzie County. And that is a shelf cloud coming in probably on the leading edge of a thunderstorm. And right under that shelf cloud, as that comes overhead, it often gets kind of windy, and then the rain starts. And so that's that would get that a picture like that would get a meteorologist excited. That would be if you if you had Jim Cantori and Reed Timmer and Bill Steffen and Ginger Z, the whole crew up there, we would just be going nuts watching a cloud like that coming in. So I believe that's our show for this evening. Like I said, Michelle will be back later on. Enjoy this beautiful day. My goodness, temperature will be up around 80 degrees here during the afternoon. And we'll be seeing some sunshine. Hope you can get outside and enjoy the day. Have yourself an awesome day. And once again, thanks for coming here to get a dose of weather.